Hello and welcome to my in-depth Burning Abyss Phantom Knight deck profile. So this is the deck that I've been playtesting the most ever since Phantom Rage dropped with the new support. And before we go into the deck list, I just want to share a few things. One, I try to keep this list as much of a Burning Abyss deck to a Phantom Knight deck. This is because most of the lists I see topping right now use a very small Burning Abyss engine, but because I like the Burning Abyss cards, I decided to add some of the ones that you don't see in most of the lists to the deck. Things like Skarm, Farfa, Libic, because I think they offer a lot of utility to the deck. And two, most of this deck's interruptions come from monster negates. You don't really have ways to interact with spells and trap cards. You don't really have any omni negates. So against some of the control matchups or slower matchups, this is where the Burning Abyss cards shine because they can just help you grind a ton. So before we go into the deck list, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. So let's get started with the main deck, and what better way to start than with our best girl, 3 copies of Italian Tour Guide. So Tour Guide is your best starter. It's a 1 card full combo. It's absolutely insane. You open this card, the chances of you winning are much higher. The problem with Tour Guide is that it's really weak to hand traps, and you have to commit your normal summon to it. So you need to know when to use the card, because sometimes if you suspect that the opponent has a hand trap, or if you're playing in a competitive environment where they most likely will, if they hand trap your Tour Guide and it's just when you have a hand that you didn't need to normal summon the Tour Guide, then you might lose that game. So, uh, going over the Burning Abyss names now, we have double copies of Graf, along with the double copies of Seer. So some people choose to just play 1 copy of each and then play a Libic as well. Even though the cards are 3, I am playing 2 copies of each because uh, with things like Bell and DD Crow and Skullmeister being really prevalent in the format right now, I like to have the second copies of each of these cards. They also help me in matchups where I need to grind, and they are also names in my hand to either summon for free extenders or to make Beatrice. And alongside the Graf and Seer, we are also playing the other 3 Burning Abyss names, Skarm, Libic, and Farfa. So all these cards offer great utility. Skarm gets you your Tour Guide in the end phase. Libic helps you extend or sometimes unbreak your hands, and then Farfa is your main disruption that you send from Beatrice. Overall, these cards are very good, and because you're playing a decent amount of them, the chances of you opening one to make Beatrice are actually pretty high. For the Phantom Knight engine, we have 3 triple copies of Torn Scales. Torn Scales is your second best normal summon. It's also an extender, and it basically gets you to any of the Phantom Knights that you need as long as you have a card to discard. Very good card. It just does everything that the deck needs it to. Now, moving on to the other Phantom Knight names, we have triple copies of Silent Boots. So Boots is your one of your extenders, and it also searches a Phantom Knight spell and trap card. Boots is really good because if you're going first, you can usually search a Fog Blade, or you can search a rank up card. And if you're going, and it's also just a free extender. And then for the other names, we have double copies of Ancient Cloak, and then 1 copy of Spanish Greaves and 1 copy of Ragged Gloves. So Cloak basically gets you to any Phantom Knight card that you need. Gloves is your Foolish, and Spanish Greaves, this is the card that I don't see a lot of people play, but this card is actually really good, especially when you're playing a decent amount of Phantom Knight cards. Because if you special summon a Phantom Knight, you can special summon it, and if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special summon a Phantom Knight from your hand. What this means is that it can sort of help you get your Phantom Knights that are stuck in your hand out of your hand to then trigger their effects in the graveyard. Now, you could tweak some of the ratios. I know that some people play 2 gloves or 3 cloak or sometimes 1 cloak, but I think this ratio is the best to get you started playing the deck. Now, for extenders, the best extender in the deck is triple copies of Kagemusha Knight. So, some people play 2 copies of this card. You should not play any less than 3. This card is basically a Phantom Knight because it special summons itself. It's a dark level 3 warrior. The other really insane thing about this card is that it activates when you normal summon a monster, so you can use it to chain block your Tour Guide. So if you open Kagemusha Tour Guide, that's absolute insanity, and the chances of you making a really insane board is really high because the opponent would normally try to stop your tour guide, but now they can. And then what are they going to do? Ash the Cherubini, or Ash Dante. Now, for other extenders that we play in the deck, we have the one copy of Jackalope, along with the one copy of Tsushinoko, Gem Sabers, Weed Dealer, and Tracker. All of these extenders are perfectly fine one-ups. The dangers are obviously very good. Sabers is really interesting because it's level 3 Dark Fiend, so Libik can special summon it from your hand and you can search it with Skarm in the end phase. But it's just really nice to be able to have another body that's in the graveyard you can special summon at any point. Weed Dealer and Tracker are just free extenders as long as you control level 3, so why not play extenders, right? Extenders are good. Now, for defensive cards, and by that I mean 3 copies of Ash Blossom. So Ash Blossom covers the most ground in the game. It can deal with spells and trap cards that search, or cards that special summon, or cards that sent to the graveyard. It basically just covers the ground that the deck normally doesn't have. And also, weirdly enough, it can be a defensive card against Psyframe Gamma. If the opponent tries to Gamma your Cherubini or your Bardiche, you can use Ash Blossom on the Gamma, and you can continue to make that play. However, it does mean that they are able to use the Gamma the next time you activate something. But for the most crucial cards like your Bardiche or your Cherubini, when you need them on the field, Ash Blossom can sometimes come in clutch. Now, for spell cards, we are only playing 4 spell cards, and you could consider these like the power 4 of the deck. Rhoda to search all of your Phantom Knight cards. Foolish Burial gets you access to any card at any point that you need. And then Call by the Grave is protection against hand traps. And finally, the rank up card to basically kill the opponent, or when you're going first, to put up 3 negates with Dark Requiem. These cards just have insane utility, and you want to see them in your opening hand. They're just absolutely insane. Now, finally, for trap cards, we have triple copies of the most important trap card in our deck, Phantom Knight's Pogblade. So this card is free Fiendish Chain, and sometimes I think about it, it's like, this card is not that good. It's just free Fiendish Chain, right? But this card actually just does so much for the deck, because if you end on things like Apollousa, the opponent will try to crash into Apollousa. So with Fogblade, you can negate a monster effect on the field, and it also can attack. So usually, a good rule of thumb is to use Fogblade on monsters that are on the field, and Apollousa for things that are activating in the hand or in the graveyard. Finally, we have the one copy of Phantom Knight Wing and the one copy of Shade Brigandine. This is usually the card that you're going to send off Ragged Gloves or the new one, Tarn Scales, and this you can search it fairly easily, and it acts as just a free extender. You can use this to make things like Evil Swarm Nightmare, or if you just need a Phantom Knight name on the field. So that's pretty much it for the main deck. I believe it's a sharp 40. Now, for the extra deck, most important card, one copy of Beatrice. This is the reason why I want to play as many Burning Abyss names as I do. I want to make Beatrice when I can. Beatrice is just really, really good. Moving on to the 2 big boys of the deck, we have the Dark Requiem and the Arc Rebellion. So this is a card that you make going first, and this is the card that you want to kill your opponent with. Now, even though you are only playing one copy of the rank up launch, the next card in our extra deck will help you go into Arc Rebellion fairly easily. And the Arc Requiem is absolutely insane because it's 3 negates by itself, special summons Xyzis from your graveyard, and that interacts with the Link, because I forgot its name. Because when you special summon a Dark Xyz, to a zone it points to, it pops a card on the field. So, moving on to the next Xyzs, we have 1 copies of Raider's Knight. This helps you rank up or rank down, so you can go into things like the Arc Rebellion, or you can go into a second Breaksword. And then for the other rank 4s, we play the 1 Dark Rebellion because you needed to go into Dark Requiem. And then we also play the 1 copy of Evil Swarm Nightmare. Evil Swarm Nightmare is really, really good. It's basically double Book of Eclipse, and it's really insane against decks that need specific link 2s or need like 2 things on the field, because as soon as they have 2 things on the field, you use Evil Storm Nightmare's effect, put them face down, and now they can't do anything with them unless it's a fusion deck, in which case, bad matchup or something. I don't know. Now, for rank 3s, double copies of Breaksword. I sometimes wish I could play a third, but most of the time it's fine playing two. Breaksword is just really solid. It helps you deal with cards on the field, and it also helps you to go into your rank 4s. And it's a nice beater because you can bring this card back with your Chap Cards, so you have an additional 2,000 attack points to just kill your opponent with. Very nice. Now for the rank 3s of the deck, we have Dante and Levier. One copy of Dante is plenty. If you're feeling yourself, you can mill 3, and maybe you can mill like a Torn Scale and maybe like some other Phantom Knight names or sometimes Burning Abyss names, and then you go into Beatrice. And if you're playing Burning Abysses, you should always play Dante. It's a war crime if you don't, and you'll go to jail. And then the one copy of Levier. Levier is really solid in the deck because sometimes when you go into Apollousa, it helps go into the Levier first to get one of your Phantom Knights that are banished, to then use it for the next turn, especially the ones that you play as a one-ofs, maybe like Ragged Gloves. So that's the main reason why we play these cards. Now for the links, one copy of Cherubini, just the best link to for the deck. It's just absolutely insane. It kickstarts all of your combos, and you can even reborn it with Seer to get extra value. And then Rusty Bardish, that's the name of the card. Anyway, so this card came off the ban list, and it's just really good. Depending on what your hand is, you can end on different setups with the Rusty Bardish. The two main ones you can go for are double Fogblade or one Fogblade and one of the rank up cards. That one is my preferred one because you get more value, but sometimes the double Fogblade is more necessary. It's really matchup dependent, and you'll know when to go for each one. If you want me to do a combo tutorial for this deck, let me know, and I might make one. For other links that we play one Apollousa. You can go into this fairly easily, and it's usually 3 negates, so it helps you stop things that activate in the hand or in the graveyard. And then finally, the IP and the Unicorn. Very good IP. You can even make IP into Apollousa on your opponent's turn, and Unicorn, again, is more interaction that this deck kind of wants by removal, basically. You put things into the deck, so things that can be destroyed. Unicorn is just really good. For the side deck, we play 3 copies of the nasty hand trap of the format, Cypherm Gamma. This is really good as a side option because if you know that you're going second, it means that you won't control any cards, so you can use Gamma fairly easily. And not only does it negate, but it also destroys, which makes this card really strong. And then obviously we have to play the one driver to go alongside it, or do we? For other hand traps, we play triple copies of Lancia. This card is just really good right now. It helps you against things like Eldritch. It helps against things like dinosaurs. Pretty much any deck that banishes of some sort, Lancia is usually really good against it. Since we are Paste Eater combo players and we don't like back row, we need to play some back row removal. I'm playing 1 copy of Red Reboot and 2 Twin Twisters. If you have Harpies, Feather Duster, or Lightning Storms, you could play those. I don't have them. I wouldn't say this is a budget deck list, but I just don't have those cards. But if you have them, feel free to play them. They're just really good. And then for board breakers, double copies of Dark Ruler No More. Should you be playing 3? Probably. I don't have a 3rd Smile, so use my deck as a template. This isn't really like a finalized list. And then my favorite card in the side deck is that triple copies of Book of Moon. Yes, it is. Why am I playing triple copies of Book of Moon? Book of Moon is good. If you're going second, you can use it as a way to turn off a negate or to bait out a negate. If you're going first and you need to put something face down, it acts like a trap card. It's just decent disruption. You could play Chalice. I'm just playing triple copies of Book of Moon for comedy purposes. So, you do you, right? So, that's pretty much it for my Burning Abyss deck profile. I want to give a shout out to my friends for hooking me up with the 6 swag. My Italian tour guides, my field center, and my mat were all given to me by friends. You know who you are. And I'll see you guys in the next one.